Welcome to the Biz Gone Social Podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social Podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I'm going to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and your social media marketing and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And today I am really stoked to have a really special guest, Bryan, with me. And Bryan, why don't you just introduce yourself and just tell my audience a little bit about what you do?
All right. Hey, thank you for having me. My name is Bryan Tamburrino. I'm the founder of Tangible Analytics Consulting. So we are a consulting agency out of Shelton, Connecticut. We specialize in software, meaning custom development for larger businesses or specialized projects. We focus on working with off-the-shelf solutions for integration, such as like CRM, campaigns, dialers, and all of that. And then we do a lot of municipal consulting. So that's kind of where the custom dev comes back in. But we are specialists in grant administration, certified with the Department of Housing, State of Connecticut, for small cities, development block grants, and a couple of other agencies for grant certification.
Wow, that's good to know. I actually once applied for a grant. I did not get it. So I definitely will keep you in mind when that all I ever decide I'm going to do that tedious task again. Anyways, so I probably in my sphere, I know one other person that does what you do. And I'm sure you know other companies because we always know who our competitors are. What separates you from those other companies that are out there that do some stuff similar to you?
So I made it a point to make my service, the scope of service is very clear, right? And when I'm working with clients, we can kind of take this back to the adage, cheap, fast, good. It can only be two of the three. And we try to, as a whole, right, when we're consulting or integrating or writing something, I make it clear to clients that those principles apply to an extent. I personally, I want to make everything of the highest quality and I don't want to rush, right? So that's kind of where we get into the very good of the three. We have a team of experts that have been working in this field for years. I try to make the business more accessible to smaller organizations, individual consultants, as an option. We consistently offer promotions, discounts, especially 2023. This is kind of the year of the promotion, for us at least. And we really try to pump quality. So I want to make CRMs for clients that have the absolute perfect specs. Every product and service is completely tailored as it should be toward that industry or client or demographic, right? So in the case of software, we want to make it intuitive. I want to automate everything because that's the whole purpose of it. But when it comes to something like grant administration, yeah, there are a lot of grant writers out there. But as of the end of 2023, in the last 3 years that we've been doing this, we've secured over $5 million for clients. Probably just about a 70% success rate, over 120 applications, 114, I believe is the exact number. And we just write really well, right? Customize everything. We've just closed a couple of great deals. 2 new towns, and we're officially CCM preferred vendor for grant administration, soon to be preferred vendor for software. Those that don't know, CCM is the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, and they manage 168 towns and cities across the state. So if an organization like that sees what differentiates us, I'm sure all of the clients will too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was just thinking about so you have a number of people who work with you that are probably like writers and software geeks and all that kind of stuff. Is that correct?
Well, we have a team of just about 12 consultants now. I just brought 2 new subcontractors in. The way that it works is that these people work for me on by project, right? So it's like project specific skill sets. I do have a team of developers. As some of you may know, or but I'm a Zoho partner, Kixie partner, Aircall, a few other pieces of software, right? Meaning we're certified developers, but I also have the ability to offer discounts as a partner, right? Off subscriptions or service or whatever. Now, I have Zoho developers on staff and as consultants, so full-time and part-time. I have 2 writers. One is more advanced, I use for federal projects. One is full-time that supports me always. I'm a certified writer. I was actually what kind of spearheaded this into grant administration. And then we have consultants that have very specific specialties. So I saw that there was a need for something like an HR audit. And I brought in a culture guy, a compensation guy, a policy guy, right? And I put all of these people together. And that's essentially what I've been doing for years to grow this business so that we have this wider scope of services, but they're all focused on data analysis because that's ultimately what the company was founded on or for, right?
Now, is this your company? I mean, are you the sole owner? Are you a partnership?
Yep. No, I founded this company in 2017. So 100% owner. We've been in business, 2020? So 6 years now. And hope to see another 6.
So do you also help out with the various projects, or do you just you're the one that brings in the clientele?
No. I actually prefer to work on the projects. And I think that that's a key component to management, right? At some point, we need to delegate tasks. But in my experience, I can't really delegate tasks unless I understand the details of the task, right? So when I'm working on any project, I need to have my hands in the pot at least 20% of the time. But for the most part, when it comes to developing, let's just, as an example, we're integrating a CRM. I'll design, I'll meet with the client, I'll consult for them. I finish the design, and then if it comes to something like advanced automation, this is where I call in my developers and say, like, we have these, 5 very specific tasks. I need you to do this coding that may take a bit longer. And at that point, that's when I transition on to the next project. So there is it's heavily geared toward management, but we also have me in the ring almost all the time.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned, I hate doing anything with coding. So if I have to do anything with coding, I always delegate that. And you bring up as a business owner, and you've learned this over the years, you bring up a lot of really great points, especially about delegating. It's probably one thing that a lot of, especially if you're a solopreneur and you don't have a lot of staff or you don't have a lot of people that you subcontract out to, you end up doing everything yourself. And that's basically, you're going to get burnout. I mean, literally, if you're doing everything yourself, you will definitely burn out really quick. So I love the fact that you had mentioned, you love to work in the projects, but where the point is, where you're going to delegate. So, as being a business owner, everybody always talks, about owning their own business, and everybody goes, wow, that's really awesome, and, you know, but, what do you like most about owning your own business and being a business owner?
All right. So before I got into consulting and really growing this firm as a team rather than a person, I was an analyst in the corporate world, operations analyst. So internal finance, not like stock market. And I spent a lot of time at my desk doing the work, and I'm great at that task, but I wanted something that was more than just a task-based day, if that makes sense. Oftentimes, let's just say we take a personality test, right? And I don't know the exact specs of the personality test, but someone would say like, wow, you don't have the personality of an analyst. People in this field typically like to maybe sit behind the desk, not talk to anyone, not be bothered with X, Y, and Z. But I have the skills of an analyst, but I have the outward the personality of being outwardly I don't know, driven, right? So I want to speak. I love engaging with people, and I love the forward-facing role of working with the clients. And I think that for me, knowing, like having more drive and direction is very important for my day-to-day operations, but also for like my personal and mental health, if you will. It just gives me more incentive to actually build this rather than just go to work, cash a check, go home. So that is definitely my favorite part of being a business owner. Yes, of course, like there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of non-critical tasks that need to be performed, which is actually how I started to get into automation. But ultimately, I love the forward-facing role. I like the challenge, and I enjoy the work.
Yeah. And that's at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it's so much better than working in a little cubicle and never having a conversation with someone, or building somebody else's business and really no incentive whatsoever at all, being stuck in that job. So there's always a lot of good things about it. We always talk about the glamour of owning our own business, like I said before, a little bit before, I kind of alluded to it. What would you say is your biggest challenge of doing your business right now in 2023?
Well, I can go on for days, for hours about challenges, but first I just want to touch on one point from what I enjoy that I had not mentioned. We as a firm, my values, I try to transfer that to the other employees, and that's something that I'm very proud of. I really want to help the employees learn and grow and continue their education and just be inspired to come to work and become better at exactly what they do, whether they're senior consultants or just my junior people that work for me full time, right? And the reason that I wanted to do that is because when I was sitting at that desk and I was miserable and I wanted to do things like pursue a master's degree, and I wanted to learn new software. But unfortunately, because of the position and the scope of work and amount of time I had to dedicate or whatever, I never had the ability to do those things. Or at least not without adding a ton of extra time to my day by going to college at night or something. So it is definitely one of my more how do I say it, more favorite, if that makes sense, the better tasks or responsibilities that I take on as a business owner. And then when it comes to challenges, probably the biggest challenge for me in 2023 is growth or continued growth. So we've experienced a lot of growth, both number of clients, the success rate with all of our clients, managing, marketing, just really expanding and growing the team. And I think that year over year moving forward, the challenge is just going to be meeting or exceeding last year's projections or actual dollars or number of clients, market reach, brand reach. There are a lot of competitors, and that's something that I didn't really understand in the beginning. I didn't understand how to sell well when I started. So if anyone listens to this and tries to take something from what I'm saying as being interested in owning or starting a business, that is crucial. Learn how to sell before you start, because coming in with no sales experience was also very difficult. And that kind of continues to be, because the market fluctuates so much and people change the way that they market, and the graphics and the visuals and the videos and the social media outlets, and just overall marketing becomes more difficult. So if I had to pick one thing, it would be challenging, but in the general, in the bigger picture, probably promotion, marketing, and growth would be my top three.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you mentioned something very interesting, is because when we were all younger and we all have a picture in our head of that yucky salesperson or that person who just wouldn't leave you alone and kept on wanting, I mean, I have believe it or not, the standard is, everybody always mentions that car salesperson, but we had one. My husband and I had a car salesperson that was unrelentless until literally I had to block his number and actually call the car dealership and actually complain about this guy. He was calling us every 10 minutes practically. It was actually horrible. But the thing is one thing I'm going to add to that for my audience that's out there is, when it comes to selling, before you can sell anything, you really have to believe in it. There's an illustration somewhere. Oh, it was in a movie, believe it or not. And I believe it. And I'm not promoting this movie at all. I don't even really know if I liked it, but I went to see it because I liked Leonardo DiCaprio. It was in The Wolf of Wall Street. And the guy gave them a pencil or something and told them, sell the pencil. And I'm telling you, I would probably have a hard time selling a pencil. But if you have a product or a service, it's really all about relationships, and a lot of people are out there. It is a numbers game. The more people you talk to, eventually somebody is going to want to do business with you. But I don't look at it as a numbers game, because I know that I'm going to get a certain amount of no's, but I've made great friends along the way and great colleagues, and people think of me. And it's like, I'm more about relationships, and I think for your business too, you got to create relationships, and that, and that's the only way you're going to grow. And you can only be one of you, so somebody once said, it's like, be that most genuine part of you that you could possibly be. And, I could hear in your voice how much you do really care about your company and how you want to serve people and how you want to, and by the way, how you treat your employees is how you're going to treat everyone else. So it really just, you can't really, you can't see me, but, I had a smile on my face when you started talking about company culture and how that's so important. So just really, really good. One thing I want to ask you and end with this. So we have a lot of people, that listen to this that, they're in three categories. Some already own their businesses and they're seasoned and they're doing great. And may want to streamline a bunch of things too, so later on, I'll ask you a little bit more information about how they can get in touch with you. And you've got these people out there that are corporate and they're tired of doing the commute, or they're, me living in Fairfield County, literally, I could not handle doing that commute every day. It's Just saying, sitting on I-95 or on the Merritt Parkway is just not or in a train or standing in a train is just not my cup of tea. So a lot of people are switching over, and especially since, we had the pandemic, a lot of people decided, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to commute. I don't want to work for someone. And then there's people thinking about it. In a nutshell, would you be able to just give my audience maybe one or two golden nuggets that would really help them in their businesses?
Yeah. The first thing is take care. The thing that's most important, most impactful, my day-to-day operations is taking care of me. And what I mean by that is, no matter if it's with personal relationships, you mentioned building relationships. So if it's professional or personal, I want to make sure that I'm right in the head, meaning I need to have some level of satisfaction with what I'm doing. I need to have a sense of peace, or ultimately, I'm not going to treat people well. And the quality of the customer service and the quality of the way just my general interaction is not going to be pleasant, right? So I tried to make an effort. Obviously, we don't always do this perfectly, but I tried to make an effort to continue to improve personally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and it always helps. And it helps in a sales capacity. It helps in, like I mentioned, the way that I treat people, the way that people end up treating me because of that exchange. And I've not seen a downside to taking care of myself. The second would probably be the second would probably be to have a clear understanding of what I do for others, how I help them, because this is something that I had problems with for a long time. I would say coming in as an analyst, you find, okay, you're used to working for someone else. So when someone asks you, what do you do? I'm giving a presentation at a networking group and I'm saying, well, I know these 5 coding languages. I have a bachelor's degree from this. This was my major. I've worked in all of these software, blah, blah, blah. And showing them regression models the first time, I'll never forget it. And no one in the crowd understood. And it's not to say like they were uneducated or something like that. It's because it didn't apply to any of them. They've not experienced it. Maybe their businesses were a little too small, or they were consultants that didn't care about regression analysis. And I needed to find a way to make all of that apply to them. So having a clear understanding of what I do helps me better relay that message to the people that need my service or need to learn from what I'm doing to better their own internal processes or workflows or types of analysis or whatever it may be. So in summary, taking care of myself and pretty much knowing how to effectively deliver a message.
Yeah, and absolutely. And that second one, so let me just touch a little bit on both of those really quick, because it's actually new, new that nobody else has mentioned these two things when I asked that question. So I want to actually address it because, I do a lot of networking, and I was in this one group where there was a chiropractor in there that said, take care of your body now because it will take care of you later. And what Bryan is talking about in essence is that if you don't take care of yourself in those 5 areas, the spiritual, the mental, mindset wise, in every area of your body, you're not going to be any good to anyone else. And with that, though, I want to add one more thing: boundaries. Because if you're always saying yes to everybody and you're never saying yes to yourself, what's going to happen again is burnout. Burnout will happen. and you'll be miserable, and then you'll be no good, and that will come out in your business. So that's the number one thing I want to just tag along with that. The second part of it is, we all, what you do, and I know what I do, but to articulate it in a way that is actually other people are going to understand, that's really an art. And it's hard to do because in our minds, well, doesn't everybody know that? Doesn't everybody know how to do social media? Doesn't everybody know how to use a CRM? Doesn't everybody know how to write whatever? Doesn't everybody know how to make a software? Seriously, those are the things. So we already know how to do it. So we can't, until we start listening to people and the needs of what someone needs. And I always say this, that's why God gave us, 2 ears and 1 mouth, really, is to listen. And if you're listening to people, you will find out what they want, and then you'll be able to explain what you're doing better. If you never listen to what your target market is saying they need, you're never going to hit it. And so I just want to kudos to you for that answer. I mean, full disclosure, everyone, I do not prep my speakers at all with answers and questions and answers so they can think about it. So we are talking right off the cuff here. And so I just want to say, wow, I'm inspired, and I hope you are too out there. And so, Bryan, there's probably somebody who resonated with you, and I'm sure, you resonated with me today. And so what I would love is just if somebody needs to get a hold of you, or needs to, may want to know more about your services or what you actually do, how would they do that?
So you can find my website. It's www.tangibleconsult.com. You can find me on any social media at Tangible Consult. So facebook.com/tangibleconsult or any of the other sites. I'm not on TikTok yet, or at least I am, but I'm not active. So please don't look there. Or you can reach out to me by email. So it's Bryan with a Y, BRYAN, at tangibleconsult.com. You can call directly. I like Lorraine, and I'm sure her guests are nice too. 203-954-5121. And I believe I covered all of them. Please reach out. I'd appreciate it.
Awesome. And thank you again for being a guest. And as usual, I will put all those links and stuff in the post itself. And so you could look for them there. So to make it easy for all of you. And until next week, everyone, just do a really good job at meeting people and sharing what you do. And I'll see you all later. Bye now.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.